And we are live, sort of live, pre-recorded live.
Oh, fuck. Damn it.
Damn. That one caught me
shit,
off
I did
guard.
2 of 'em. How about a shit too? Does that count?
Oh,
It
damn.
does.
For the people who are wondering, I've introduced a new rule on my show where every guest must drop at least one F-bomb. And then Tex was like, "Oh, I don't know about this, Donnie. I don't know about." And then as soon as we hit play, he's like, "Fuck." That caught me off guard. Okay. All right.
What?
So let me just introduce. My name is Donnie Cho. My pronouns are he, him. And I am the host of Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And tonight we have a few esteemed colleagues here. To the top left is one Jason McLean. His pronouns are he, him, I assume.
No, my pronouns are go fuck yourself.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Bingo.
For me,
You're welcome.
My partner in crime. To my top right is Tex, the immaculate one, the overlord of Texas Front Porch, the man with the golden voice. And then we had got Randy, the infamous leader of Truth or Tinfoil, the conspiracy master.
The tech troll.
What does that say?
I'm being held against my will. Help.
Oh, man. You made me squint
Blank,
more than I
blank.
usually do.
You gotta do this, Randy.
So we all know Randy.
My thumb hurts when I do that, though.
And finally, we got back by popular demand after our previous episode reviewing Godzilla -1. That episode was such a smash hit. We've got Ray, a.k.a. Paco, a.k.a. Jason's friend, a.k.a.
Does he want to admit that?
No.
No.
Okay.
Jason,
All right.
I knew I like that guy.
F-bomb
Jason's
that.
only friend.
It's not
You know,
true.
it's sad to say that actually is the case. The only other one that I know of doesn't ever come around. I like him, but you know, we talk to each other, just not Jason.
Yeah, he knows all of Jason's like deep, dirty secrets.
I really do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He must be a real
Including-
acquired taste.
Including what
Hey.
happened to that troll.
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
I'm going to test you. I'm going
Go
to test you how well you know how well you know Jason.
Okay.
Okay.
Randall!
I can neither confirm nor deny. and Scooby here understands exactly what I mean by that. That whenever I'm asked about Jason, I have to say I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. So we are here gathered because finally all five of us have now seen both recent entries into the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla -1 and Godzilla X Kong, A New Empire. So a little background into what led up to this episode was that one day I was talking with Tex and we were both talking about Godzilla, both Godzilla movies because you had seen both. I had seen both. Ray, I'm pretty sure you'd seen both before anyone else, right? But Randy and Jason were in a unique spot because Jason at that point had only seen Godzilla -1 and not Godzilla X Kong. Randy was the opposite. Randy had only seen Godzilla X Kong, but not Godzilla -1. So to both of them, I was just like, guys, you guys have to watch these movies, man, so we can get, finally, when you guys are done, we can all get together and we can compare and contrast. So now, recently, they have both seen both movies. So we're going to start off this episode with Randy. And Randy is going to start off by after having finally watched Godzilla -1, give us your thoughts.
Well, I mean, like I said when I talked to you before, I was like, this is a totally different. This movie was a complete different path of normal Godzilla movies to me. It really was not about Godzilla. It really was not. It was about Takeshita. Was that what his name was?
Oh, I forgot his name, but it's some Japanese sounding name.
The one,
I don't know.
The
They all
dude,
sound alike.
I just can't remember what his name was. But Takeshita, I think Tanahashi was the mechanic. I remember that. Tanahashi, I remember because he was the one that kept calling you coward of a he's supposed to be a kamikaze pilot. He's brought dishonor on everybody and their dog back at that time, obviously. Not going through with it. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't. But then at the end, you saw how Tanahashi came. But anyway, neither here nor there. This movie was really more about that guy and his coming to terms with what he had done, what had happened. Godzilla just was like the catalyst of it all. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it was a representation of the war for him entirely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, I didn't even look at it as a Godzilla movie. Now, if I start talking about the monster itself, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's one of the best CGIs I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, I didn't like what
for $12 million.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when he was doing his thing, and he attacked. Of course, you didn't see the breath until later on, but watching them animate him on the island, was actually really cool. But then when he got on the mainland, he's walking like the old Toho Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a second, guys. Now, it's one thing, with all the legendary version of Godzilla, those guys, they completely CGI, and he's literally, he's kind of slumped a little bit, but he's never straight up like this.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way he was going through Japan, early on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, nostalgia me, I'm like, Toho, let's see if I see a Godzilla doing the jig like he did in Godzilla versus Megalon, I'm a happy man. But I don't. This was a well written movie. Now, Donnie said, hey, listen to the actual Japanese
like subtitles
soundtrack. Yeah. And use the subtitles. I didn't. I used subtitles and because I'm away from the room, but I used both, and I didn't have a problem with either way. I mean, the English subtitles I got, a couple of the voice actors, I was like, I've heard that voice before. Where have I heard that voice before? And I'm sitting there trying to figure out who's actually doing the voice actor for that particular person. So, but it definitely deserved the Academy buzz it got. I'll give it that. It definitely deserved that because it was a very well written movie, and it really showed that dude going full spectrum. He was distraught.
Yeah, that dude was traumatized.
The only way he could get over it was at the end. He had to, do the kamikaze thing at freaking Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
And then at the last second.
Yeah, because there was an ejection seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to come back to that in more detail later, but I want you to finish your thing first.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right because, like I say, I didn't see it until the last second. I'm like, and then of course they cut back and did the flashback. They pulled a leverage on me. If anybody's ever watched Leverage, they pulled a leverage on me.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, you sons of bitches. And I'm like, and it was Tanahashi that put it in there, the one that kept.
Yeah, the dude that hated his guts. Yeah.
Well, so okay, just one quick thing we can explore when we get more into the conversation. But I think Tanahashi's hatred for him is not because he was necessarily a pilot or a kamikaze pilot who didn't do his job. It's because he didn't pull the trigger. When he had. Yeah. So it's like his is far more personal because everyone else died because he didn't he didn't just pull the trigger.
But and now we look back at it. Obviously, anybody, and Tanahashi did later, look back at it. It wouldn't have made no difference if he pulled the trigger or not.
That's a debatable point, but we can continue.
I'll debate it all day long. He could have shot him all over the place.
I don't think that's a debatable point.
Okay,
man. I mean, they showed it from the very beginning that was not going to stop him.
No, he was not.
Ended with him.
By the way, the character's name was Tachibana. It's hilarious that you call him Tanahashi because that's a New Japan wrestler. But it makes so much sense.
That's for another show later then.
Yeah.
I knew it was Tana something.
Yeah. Tachibana.
But Ray's right. I mean, I don't think that 30mm gun that was on that Zero was going to do anything to him.
The pressure didn't stop him.
No.
That was the whole thing at the end, and his heart was still beating. So no, that wasn't going to stop.
Okay. All right. So we'll explore this a little bit. I'll explore it a little bit. Okay, both this and you have Shin Godzilla in this movie should be seen as two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
Because they're in many ways they have similar concepts flowing within them. They're just from two different perspectives. I think the implication of him, because again, the Godzilla we see at the very beginning, which again is really interesting for a Godzilla movie, because usually there's a build up to Godzilla. This time it's like, nope, Godzilla's here and he's a velociraptor and he's just pissed off at everything existing, right?
Yeah.
He's an animal controlling his territory. The implication is all of the things we see him doing later on happen after the nuclear testing. And so that's all powers that he got essentially post nuclear radiation. The implication being he probably could have killed Godzilla at that early stage. In the same way in Shin Godzilla, there's this whether it would have actually worked or not is irrelevant. There's the implication that if they shoot Shin Godzilla at that very early period when they have the opportunity, that's done. But it's both of their cowardices, for whatever reason, one political, one personal, that because of that cowardice, this thing is allowed to create the havoc that it does, and people die because of it.
Okay, but you're not correct, because it's already after they've dropped the bombs on where they have. It's got nothing to do. He's not before. So no, you're incorrect.
Hold on, no.
There was that scene after.
Yeah, Godzilla gets irradiated after he attacks the island.
Explain the fish.
Yeah.
The fish come up. Hold on. The fish come up.
There you go. Go ahead.
No. The fish come up because he's coming up from the depths. That's always the implication. Is those are deep water fish.
They're being irradiated. That's what the whole thing is.
And they're
being irradiated by him.
Yeah.
And their Geiger counters went off.
I've watched the whatchamacallit on it, looking at the subtitles and everything else. First off, I'll say this: the American version with the dubbing on it's not bad, but it's not great. You miss a lot of stuff from when you see the subtitles of the original version.
Yeah, I like the subtitles.
But it's incorrect. Like, the bombs have already gone off and helped to create him already. His T-Rex like size in those first 5 minutes, which me and you both said was brilliant to do.
Yeah,
show him really quick and then start to build that story of whatever you're going to build. But he's already poisoned. His body's been corrupted by it. That is, yes, there is that line in saying that it's pulling up fish from the bottom, but they're dead. They're not just popping up because of that. It's because they're near him. I would even argue that anyone who was close to him might have that, as we come to find out with the atomic breath later. Yeah, so it's already. He's already.
But we see him
to say unkillable. He's
but we see him get exposed later after that event when we get the Godzilla -1 logo.
Yeah,
that's when he's exposed.
I guess that's when he gets into his final transformation.
Yeah. From what I've been able to read and what I'm looking at right now, that first Odo Island thing was actually in 1945, like you were saying, right? But it doesn't tell us when. It just says he landed his Zero there for repairs. And that's where it picks up. It didn't say when, it didn't say how, because we know that the bombs were dropped in August. So I would argue, and I'd have to look at the actual, I shouldn't say subtitles, but when it gives you the little byline, down there where it tells you the date and such, I think it says October timeframe.
Well, that's when he gets back. He returns to Japan after the bombs have been dropped.
Yeah, but that was 1947. That next one where he's raiding on Tokyo, that's 1947.
Yeah, exactly. It's years later. Yeah, it's when he's actually walking, when he has the power. That's what I'm saying. It's like we see him get exposed to the nuclear radiation in it's 57 when we see him hit Tokyo. It's during the testing phase. Yeah, no, it's 57 when he because it's the war's over in 45. He goes home. He spends the next, because the girl, however many years raising that girl, it's not 2 years.
I understand that, but remember that he hit Tokyo originally before that, or whatever little town that was they were at. He hit that before that. Most of the action, according to this, happens around 1947.
I would. Where are you at on that one? Because I thought it was in the. 50s.
Oh yeah, no. When Godzilla first attacks Tokyo, you mean, right?
Yeah.
And that girl that got in that job at the office, and he's working on the boat. Yeah, that would have been around 1947.
Okay, 47. That's fine.
There's a little girl. He just got the little girl in 45 when he went back home.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it's 47. Okay.
So the one thing I hate is admitting when Jason's right. I think in the tenure of our friendship, which spans over 2.5 decades, I think I've told him he's right maybe 3 entire times.
He takes personal pride in it.
F-bomb. This is the 4th. McLean is correct. Yes, it had nothing to do. It had everything to do with the biology of the creature, but he was exposed after the radiation. However, because of the certain biology, there was no guarantee he would die either. Only
Yeah.
that he was grown in size and that he did take radiation. So all of that
Yeah.
to say is we're all half right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all half right.
We all have our way of looking at it. How's that?
Right.
Correct.
Randy, continue with, because my whole point is thematic more than anything else. But Randy, please
Well, yeah,
continue. I'd
and-
like to hear the
Yeah,
end
and
of
it's,
your.
quite frankly, it's neither here nor there because once again, the movie isn't really about Godzilla.
No.
This movie is about him, the woman that tried to rob him, that he, ended up with a little girl that got handed over to him,
Mm-hmm.
and she gives him the baby and just leaves him there. And
Yeah.
in the English, dub portion, as she finally comes back as he sits there with that baby in that square for how long?
Yeah. A while.
And and he looks over, sees her, and he goes and follows her, whatever it was. She's like, "You didn't think I was going to come back out there where they could get me, did you?" I'm
Mhm.
just like, well, she played him for a fool, but
Yep.
you can see she's like, I wasn't going to leave a baby though. She told him that, I'm like, all right, now that I can dig. And then it just kind of kept going on from there. And I'm like, when later on, when they killed her off, quote unquote, I was like, you could see his eyes. He's like,
Mhm.
he found something he didn't know he would ever find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That family that he didn't really have, wasn't his, became his family. So that's where I think you're right. Talk about going into 57 time frame, mid 50s, whatever the case might be. The baby was growing up. Yes.
Yeah.
So why they would sit there and tell me on other stuff that it all happened in 47. We all know it didn't all happen in 47. It just didn't work like that. But
Well, it's an irrelevancy. She was
Yeah.
old enough to be whatever age she was supposed to be.
she
it's
was a
fine.
baby in 45. That means that little girl you saw talking to him was not a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
She had to been 4 or 5. I would say probably closer to 4 because 5 would been okay too. Kindergarten time frame because she called him, and when she talked, you hear that little girl. You hear a little girl talking. So you're like,
Yeah.
Little
they
girl
did a
went
good
from
job at
yay
tugging
high
at
to
heartstrings.
yay high.
Yeah. I mean, and they did their best, and I tell you, they did a good job tugging at heartstrings.
Yeah,
They
they
really
did.
did. So I just, even though it's got Godzilla in it and they're all fighting, it was more about that family.
There aren't too many Godzilla movies that make you care about the actual people. Like most
Exactly.
Godzilla movies, I couldn't care less about the people.
No.
Yeah, the people
I
are
won't even stop
devised to explain and give context to Godzilla.
Yeah.
But this one actually focuses on the humans 100%.
Speaking about a movie where you don't give a flying fuck about the people, Jason.
Yeah.
Hold off. Just
Yeah.
hold off. I
Oh.
haven't had my turn.
Oh,
Well, okay.
oh, actually, I'm waiting for you, Tex. Actually, because
Yeah, I'm doing the review. Then we're going to
Yeah.
turn to you for your controversial take. on
yeah,
this.
because Tex has a very controversial take, and we need
He
to
wants
address
King
this.
Kong back.
Okay, but before we go there, let's move on to Godzilla X Kong: New Empire.
Okay.
Now, Jason was in Randy's position, except for the opposite movies. You'd already seen -1. I beg and plead for you to finally watch Godzilla X Kong. You finally watch it,
Yeah, I couldn't
and
take
then
you
give us
crying.
your thoughts. And then we're going to go to Tex after that.
It was a good flick. Not a Godzilla movie, but it should have been called King Kong with some Godzilla in it. But I mean, it's
Yeah, it was mostly
a good movie. It is a popcorn flick. That's what it is. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a heck of a lot more than I thought I was going to. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. There were periods where I kind of forgot about. You're right. I kind of forgot about the people. But it was enjoyable. The graphics were great, and yeah, it was a good popcorn flick. You shut off your brain, you enjoy the movie, you watch monsters beat the crap out of each other, and yeah, you're happy. Go home happy. That's all you want. That's all I want out of it. That's all I want out of a Godzilla movie. I want to watch big monsters beat the crap out of each other, smash something, and then go water off into the sea, and I'm done. I'm happy, and that's what I got. I appreciated what I paid for it, so I'm good.
Now, real quick though, so I was talking to Tex. We were backstage. I think you remember this, Tex. You told me you had seen both, and I was like, "Oh, Tex, what you think?" You know, I was expecting a glowing review on Godzilla -1, or an indictment on how Hollywood is, you know, their budgets are way over bloated or something. No, but Tex, you gave me your opinion. I was shocked. And then I stopped myself because I was like, "Oh, we need to discuss this on the show live with everyone here." So, Tex, give us your opinion.
Well, I don't remember what I told you.
Oh, you
Let's
said you
refresh
liked.
my-
Okay, I'll tell you. You told me that you liked Godzilla X Kong better than -1,
Mm.
and I was
Tex
like,
like, no.
"What?"
And all he says is,
Yeah.
Okay, go for it, Tex. Tell us why.
Well, I think they both sucked.
Look at Jason's
Raymond?
face.
I'll let you
I'm-
have this one.
I'm waiting to hear
Um,
the whole
The
Okay.
reasoning?
So, Godzilla -1. It sucked for the exact reason y'all were talking about. Oh, it's a sob story and heartstrings and all. Screw that. I want to see Godzilla stomping the shit out of people and burning shit. That's what I want to see. Okay. I don't care about some guy that couldn't do his damn duty. Okay. I felt like I was watching Private Ryan. And I mean, it's just it's like, come on. This is not about you. This is about. I'm like, where the fuck is the monster at? You know?
God, sounds like
Tex is
Cloverfield
like,
all over
I
again.
don't care about this family bullshit. I want monsters.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
want monsters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tex is looking for closure. Keep going, Tex.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
And I'm like, because I was rooting for the mechanic to kill the guy. Okay, because
Damn.
well, you know, this is
That comes from a soldier's point of view on that one, though.
exactly.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
thought the same thing at first, so I'm with
I
you.
felt like I was watching a woke Godzilla movie.
All right, I'll step in. No,
Uh-oh.
no, I've seen way worse stuff than
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I mean, that's not even close. I'll tell you what it is, and to Jason's point earlier, it was the opposite side of Shin Godzilla. If Shin Godzilla told us the perspective from the government side, then Godzilla -1 told us that from the human side, better than anything that we could have gotten. Because even when we look at 2016 Godzilla, which I know everybody loved, it was strictly from a soldier's point of view, right? That's what that was. And then it went into the family point of view.
Oh, that first legendary
The
one,
one
right?
with Bryan
First
Cranston.
legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where
Bryan
When he
Cranston
was
shows
gonna
up for
he
5
had a
minutes.
cameo in.
Yeah.
I think it was 5. I don't even know. But that was kind of the same thing. So
Yeah.
if we're going to point at that, then that's where it's at. The director of this one simply said, "How do I tell a giant monster story without going into the absurd that we have seen from legendary Toho, from anyone else, and let me see if I can put a spin on it about the war during that time and what it meant to be a kamikaze pilot, and then integrated that with Godzilla." But a woke film? No, this was not the
I thought
Marvels.
Godzilla X Kong was more woke because they made him pink. I felt like they turned Godzilla into like a giant lesbian or something.
Oh, I'm not. Well, see, I haven't got started on that one yet.
Oh. All
my
right.
God.
Yes.
Like I said, I have definitely seen worse. I don't think that was -1. I as far as Godzilla, Kong Empire, when I start seeing baby monkeys being used as blunt objects to bigger monkeys, that's just good old fashioned fun.
Oh, I
was
did
how
like
peop-
that. Yeah.
That was how people raised kids back in the
Yeah.
80s and 70s. Pick up the smallest thing you've got near you, and then go bash that in. But that, I mean, it was. I wasn't expecting to go into Godzilla Kong with a a new understanding of how cinema works by any stretch of the imagination. I do think -1, I came out thinking, wow, that was a Godzilla flick.
Yeah.
No.
And seeing it from a different point of view.
No.
Anything else, man, becomes the
Definitely.
Toho 90s to 2000s where it's just like, hey, so this alien, these two psychic twins together to go find Mothra so they could help Godzilla make the final battle against his robotic self. So yeah, I think
What
to
the hell's wrong
throw
with
it
that?
into there.
There's
Well,
nothing
and
wrong
that's
with
the
that.
thing, though. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that, but that's the same thing. Shut off your brain, right? It's shut off your brain entertainment. Anything Godzilla Kong is shut off your brain entertainment. -2 movies, -1, and Shin Godzilla. Those are the
Yeah.
only two Godzilla
Yeah.
flicks I've ever seen that I had to stop and go, wait a minute, what's going on? Are you making me think during this?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're gonna make me think, make it worth my while. And to me, they did. Both of them did.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
No.
think we talked about this off
No.
air. I had the same conversation with Donnie too. It feels like the whole Godzilla thing falls in a pattern, right? It starts off because go back to the original Godzilla. What is it? It is a political. It's a catharsis for the war, right? It's a larger political exploration of the human endeavor, and then it becomes financially successful. And you're like, well, crap, I got to do more movies, and then you do one more that's a little bit darker. But then after that, you kind of have to go into the what do they call it? The
He's where
Toei
he's
version?
essentially a superhero.
Yeah, where he becomes sort of this superhero version. That's when you start getting him with Mothra and
Yeah.
Jet Jaguar and you know.
I'm glad somebody else remembered that robot's name other than me.
I love
And,
Jet Jaguar.
what?
I love Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, and I really hope we get him in the next movie, and the next Legendary movie. But it goes in that phase. Well, America has done the same thing, right? The very first Legendary Godzilla. It's still he's not necessarily, it is this concept of man versus nature, and just saying, look, nature's going to do what it's got to do. Let it happen. We can't intervene in this, right?
Mm-mm.
It's sort of that there is that political that sort of political overtone of nature's going to do what nature's going to do. Man has to stand by. And then you have sort of okay, well, we can do something with it. It's still fairly dark, particularly when you get with Kong Skull Island. But then by the time you get Kong versus Godzilla, it's like, okay, we got to have fun with this. And then that's when you start getting all the other stuff, right? So we're just going through the same progression that Godzilla went through with Japan. That seems to be the standard procession of Godzilla films. But so that's my thing, though, is that the original Godzilla was political. The thing is, you kind of have to understand the political message of this one, which is this is as close to with -1. Sorry, definitely not Godzilla X Kong. With -1, this is as close as Japan is ever.
What are you talking about, Jason? Godzilla versus Kong was absolutely
political. It was absolutely political. Yeah,
two creatures mindlessly going at each other, man. I don't know what more. Crazy.
Back up. Okay, number one, when I watched the Kong Expert Godzilla, I felt like I was watching the WWE version in monster suits. Okay, because you have you've got
which is what I wanted.
the two rivals, and then one of them turns face and helps. It was like Hulk Hogan and freaking,
like Macho Man,
Randy Savage all over again.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you've got, let's take it a step further and let's give both of them hyper intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, let's put a freaking power glove on freaking Kong.
Hey, those are in the 80s with
And,
the Nintendo
and
Power
before we
Glove
do
on
that,
it.
we're going to give him a fucking axe. Okay. So you're watching what you're watching is the WWE version of Kong and Godzilla. And then on top of that, what do? Let's throw in some Planet of the Apes along with it.
Apes together strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Apes shall not kill ape.
The movie was absolutely horrible.
It was the best thing I've ever seen. I would win Oscars for all of them.
Okay.
Okay, on the power
Best
glove part,
picture.
when he's beating Godzilla in the face and in Egypt with the power glove, all I could think was that scene in Age of Ultron when he has the Hulk
Yes.
buster on. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
See, and
Yeah.
I went completely different. I went to Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Warriors, where he takes over the power glove. Like, all of this screams Nintendo. That's all I know.
No, you
Yeah.
know what? You know what
No,
King
no.
Kong's power glove was?
I was honest to God waiting for him to put Infinity Stones in the damn thing
Oh, that would have been awesome.
because I felt like I was watching a freaking Marvel movie. I really did.
Were.
Wait a minute.
no,
You
what-
didn't get that when they were running on the trailer that it was going to be a Marvel movie or DC?
Yeah.
That was Superman, Batman written all over it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
actually better.
yeah.
I did not. I did not. Okay, the mutant freaking monkey that was
Oh, the
leading
Scar King?
charge. Huh?
This one, the Scar
Yeah.
King.
Yeah. Which is more chimpanzee like more than anything.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't like him?
No,
That
No.
I
wasn't.
didn't even like him.
I didn't like the entire concept of that.
That
No.
wasn't Damsel from Street Fighter 2.
Kind of, yeah.
That's all I kept thinking. I was like, not to disagree with Tex because I think he's onto something, and I don't disagree with him about half of the stuff that went into Godzilla versus Kong.
Pussy.
But if I no, my thing is this: if I didn't shut off my brain going into this movie, I would come out like Tex and hating everything about it. In fact, I think that was part of the problem that I had with the first Godzilla versus Kong, and Jason, you can attest to that.
Yeah.
I came
Oh,
out and
yeah.
I was just like, what did I just watch? And it was a horrible experience from the word go for me. It was bad theater, bad service.
Oh yeah.
The screen was cut in half the entire first 10 minutes. Only the second movie I've ever walked out of because of the experience was just so horrible. So when I went into this one, it was very much like, okay, I can't think about anything of intelligence, and I just got to shut down and go see this for what it is. And I was like, oh, it's better than I thought. It could have sucked even more. So it's always that way when it comes to these type of movies, and it's getting that way when it comes to certain type of comic book movies. I just got to go and enjoy it for what it is. Because if I go and I start thinking about it, I'm gonna come out like Tex, and I'm gonna be like, this is crap. So I have to sit there and I have to disassociate myself from anything that makes sense
Or anything you ever read before.
or anything I've read before or anything logical and take that out. And sorry, Donnie, I did interrupt you. You were saying something about it before we kind of segue. So
No, I was just gonna say that power glove that Kong got, that was basically Sting getting that black baseball bat.
mm,
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
It's like Popeye and his freaking spinach. I mean, come
It
on.
would have been okay if it hadn't been the dude from Downton Abbey putting it on him, okay?
Was he
Yeah.
out in Namby?
Yeah, that dude played the guy that got killed after the first season of Downton Abbey.
I have a whole new list of questions for Randy.
Hey, wow. This boy.
Oh, wait.
looked me in the-
Oh, you're right. He was going to be the guy who wait,
he
was he
the
going to be the guy
cousin
who took
he was
over?
the dude that married his cousin so they could keep the damn manor.
Oh,
and people
gotcha.
call us freaking inbred rednecks, okay?
Oh yeah, no, the royal family, it makes so much more sense if you switch everyone's name out to Mary Lynn and Jimmy Bob. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
And
But
the only reason I said that is because Dan Stevens, who played that part, Dan Stevens played Matthew in Downton Abbey, but he also played the Beast in the live action Beauty and the Beast. So
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
the dude's an accomplished actor, don't get me wrong, but him throwing that Australian I think it was an Australian accent he was trying to go
That's how I
for.
read it, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I've heard you talk. Please stop. Just be your British self and leave it alone.
I don't think anyone would have taken him seriously with that costume and backstory if he was supposed to be British.
I
Australia,
kind of want to hear more of Tex explain why he didn't like the Scar King, because I actually thought he was the highlight of the movie.
Oh,
you're
dear
insane.
God.
I thought it was cool to see, King Kong. I thought about it one day and I'm like, what would be a good rival for Kong? What if, Kong being a giant gorilla, what if he went up against a giant chimp?
That's what he is.
That's what he is, right?
Yeah.
See,
A
looks
giant
like
messed up
orangutan to me.
chimpanzee. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
Well, that picture right there.
I'm
Looks like
not saying it wouldn't. If they'd have done what you just said,
Yeah.
that would have been cool. Okay,
Mhm.
but That's not what they did. Okay. They humanized these monsters to an extent to where they're. Ray, you said you got to take your brain out and play with it. I mean, you got to shut your brain off.
If you do
No,
it too often, you go blind.
you don't have to take. You don't have to shut it off. You have to take it out and you have to play with it and dip it in freaking whiskey or ranch. Okay, because
That's not what you do.
I was thinking why they're mutually exclusive.
if they had just stuck with the original King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Kong had a little bit of intelligence,
Right.
a little bit. Okay, enough to figure out to go around the rock. Okay, he had that much intelligence. If they'd have kept it that level, because what you had was brute strength. They said it in the movie, brute strength against a thinking animal.
Mhm.
Okay, if they'd have kept it that, it would have been a whole lot better movie. It would have been a Godzilla and King Kong movie. If Kong could have overcame the frostbite by himself and overcame that handicap and came out on top anyway, that would have made a much better Godzilla versus King Kong movie. Leave the Planet of the Apes out of it. Make that another movie. They did the same thing that they did. They did the same thing with this movie that they did with when they brought in when it was King Kong versus Godzilla, and then they brought in the Mecha Godzilla. They crammed too much down your damn throat in one movie.
Yeah. That one I
Okay.
agree with.
Don't get me
Okay,
started on
but-
Mechagodzilla
they-
because I
they
will
took-
go half an hour on that.
They
But time out,
took
though.
wait a minute. They took 3 Godzilla movies from Toho days and crammed them all into one, and it was too much shit in one movie. It's like Lord of the Rings, 3.5 hour movies, too damn long to watch little hobbits run around. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
All that's playing in my head is Clerks 2.
That may or may not be gay. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I didn't. I mean,
Three-
at the end of those movies, I wasn't sure if I was watching Lord of the Rings or Brokeback Mountain. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The only thing we're missing was a sheep.
No, I think they had
Yeah,
it.
they were looking like they were about to make out in quite a few scenes.
But
It's all
Yeah.
Clerks 2 again. Sorry.
It really is, yeah.
Here's the thing, though, right? Is it nostalgic? Is it nostalgia that we're living in because we're talking about Toho and the classic Toho monsters and the Godzilla movies as if they were some brilliant, masterful pieces of work? When reality is it's not much different from what we're doing right now with Legendary. Just not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
So it's not like we're-
Have
No,
you
no,
watched
no,
those
no.
recently?
Yeah.
No. Time out. We're missing a whole bunch now with Legendary because there is no Monster Island, first of all.
Right.
And
But that's what
Monster
I'm-
Island is the know all and be all of where all the monsters are at.
Right.
Okay.
But now they're calling Monster Island Hollow
and-
Earth.
It's Hollow Earth,
Yeah.
which,
That's
by the
what
way,
that is.
Hollow Earth now apparently also has
again,
a Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Where
They
the
can
apes
take their
are.
Hollow Earth and shove it in their hollow butts because I'm telling you right now, Godzilla doesn't go into Hollow Earth. Hence, that's what they established in Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla
Yeah.
has the surface and he's got Hollow Earth.
Randy,
So how
he-
can that
he
be Monster
traveled.
Island?
He travels. That's his vacation spot. When he wants to chill out for 2 weeks after sleeping in the Coliseum, he goes and vacations over in Hollow Earth for just a little bit. But then
Come
he
on,
goes back.
there were some
Okay.
good moments in Godzilla X Kong. I think. Okay, can I show you my favorite bit from that movie? Was
Please do.
this? Remember that scene in the beginning?
He gets so
Remember that
frustrated.
scene in the beginning where
Yeah.
where King Kong fights off those giant
Mhm.
wolves, and then he
Mhm.
kills one of them, and then that giant, and then he's about to eat, right? He's about to chow down, and then he goes into that one lizard comes along, just steals his food, and he's tugging for it, and it gets the
official name
food,
for that lizard is
and the
Doug.
look on King Kong's face, like such a look of like defeat. He's just like, oh man.
Like just
one
get
thing I
back
did
up.
appreciate about Kong Skull Island
Mhm.
is when he beat the giant octopus, he ate it.
Oh yeah.
I did like that.
Yes.
Also, like the best CGI portion of that being Brie Larson.
Yeah. It's
Same.
true.
Yeah, that the giant octopus is looking kind of good too. He was eating it like noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
every Asian person watching that scene was like, all their mouths were watering. My dad was like,
Whoa.
"Oh man, that should look delicious."
Ooh, calamari, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting there thinking about how to fry it up. Homeboy's
Yeah.
just sitting there.
Fry it up. No, we're
He's-
Korean.
he's
We eat
just
that shit
taking-
live.
He's just taking it. He's like,
Yeah.
man, I like this raw this raw little sushi I've got
Yeah.
going here.
Yeah, raw is good.
God.
Yeah. That's how I cook my
Yeah.
steak.
I just got that scene from The Boys where he's rescuing the octopus out of the freaking tank at Red Lobster.
Mm.
Okay, I'll quit now.
All right, moving on. Yeah, no, but
Love
again, Godzilla X Kong was a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some nostalgia bias going on with Tex here because I'm sorry, this is just Toho. This is the Toho movies from like the 60s and 70s. I agree with the whole Mechagodzilla thing because I hate how they did Mechagodzilla in that movie. So trust me, we're on the same side on that one. But these aren't any different except for the overly expensive budgets. They're no different from what we saw in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s with Godzilla when he was dancing. Everyone's like, I don't like it when Godzilla does silly crap. And it's like, let me pull up any random Toho movie from the 70s.
Exactly.
And he's flying backwards
On
or
his
he's
tail.
on his tail to drop kick some
Exactly.
like, I'm sorry. The stuff we grew up on was ridiculous.
It was freaking
It was
amazing.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Don't get us wrong. We loved it. Loved watching
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
You know, when you
Couch
can watch
popcorn.
something like this and just be like, that was Saturday morning right there. It's
Period.
cartoons quickly followed
Yeah.
by a Godzilla flick that made
Yep.
absolutely no sense, but you enjoyed the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate Godzilla versus your Godzilla X Kong Empire Lord of the Ring whatever.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it because it was just as silly and goofy as it was at that
Yeah.
time. Likewise, though, again, just like Shin Godzilla and like Godzilla -1, it just surprised me because I'm not expecting that going into a Godzilla movie. I
Yeah.
never am. Whenever I hear people go, "Oh my God, this is a great Godzilla movie," like, really? Like, is it though?
Well,
And
yeah.
those two movies, I walked out and I was like, "Wow, that made you think." And again, Tex, right to your point, it doesn't become about Godzilla. It's usually about the human reaction. But I do love, especially in Shin Godzilla, that they kept Godzilla
Mhm.
um, as that unstoppable force of nature that they were focused on. But I also like the fact that that particular Godzilla was always in pain. And they always talk about that. Like whenever you see him on screen, it's always frustration. Everything he does, whether it's breathing, walking, moving, whatever, he's in pain. And that's why he's killing everything in his path. Whereas we see something like -1, it's he's not in pain. He just doesn't like the world around him. And then you come to something like Godzilla and Kong, where it's like, by the way, those cities, when they're in, with the pyramids, when they're
Oh
in
yeah.
Japan
yeah.
and everything else, and I'm just sitting there going, well, there goes a couple 100,000 people right there by moving to the left,
Mhm.
and it's
Oh,
comical.
everyone in Rio de Janeiro is dead. All
Yeah,
of them.
like that whole thing. It's like, excuse me, I'm going to jump off this and into the ocean. I'm sure that won't create a tsunami and wipe out another massive amount of people.
Actually, that was also one of my favorite parts of the movie when the giant monsters land in Rio de Janeiro and all the people are out on the beach, but then everything freezes and all the people get frozen. I appreciated that because in these Rio beaches, it's just depravity and it's disgusting. all these women with their booties hanging out, their bikinis. It's despicable. And I imagine, like, if I could give God like a suggestion box, like I would be like, "Hey God, here's a suggestion. Next time you go Sodom and Gomorrah, why don't you just drop a couple giant monsters
Make
on
it
the
interesting.
place instead of
Shimu's like,
doing
cover up wars.
because it was all those big round booties just hanging out there. It was disgusting, guys.
Texas
And I thought it
irritated.
was like
Texas-
perfect retribution and karma
Texas gonna
that the
drop
Scar
another
King would
F-bomb.
show up and just start wrecking shit. So it was
like-
catharsis for me.
Texas is gonna be like, Donnie, that was my favorite part of that movie. The only part I watched was for that Rio de Janeiro scene, and you're ruining it, Donnie. How dare
The
you?
all
saving
those-
grace of the whole movie. You know, I did not like the worst part about it for me, as far as Godzilla versus Godzilla X King Kong, whatever.
New Empire. Just say New Empire.
Return of the what now?
Yeah,
I did not like
Return of the Zilla.
them taking the beast side out of all of it.
Mhm.
Okay,
They were too human.
Agreed. Yeah.
they were way too human.
Yep.
Okay, I thought the same thing when they gave Kong that the in King Kong versus Godzilla when they gave him the axe and it's
Mhm.
supercharged and all this. I'm like, oh my god, just give him a freaking, just give him a train to hit him over the head with, like we used to have, you know.
Back in my day, he hit you
Yeah,
with a
why is he
and
got to
you were
hit him
happy
with the MacGuffin? You know, why does he got to MacGuffin him?
because the
That's
McChicken
actually the
was
name of
available.
the next movie. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you spoiling that, Donnie. Thanks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Godzilla /
The one
Kong.
thing I did not appreciate about Godzilla X Kong were all the scenes where King Kong is like in the Hollow Earth, and he's and he finally meets other Kongs, right? He meets this whole tribe of them, and all the other Kongs are like slightly shittier than King Kong. He like beats the crap out of the first ones he meets, but then the whole dynamic of Kong with all the other Kongs. I mean, it's kind of cool seeing Kong meeting other Kongs for the first time. But at the same time, you can't help but feel like they don't feel big anymore. They all feel normal size now. Now it just feels like you're watching Planet of the Apes, except there's no speech.
What I
Well,
will
we're
say,
not far from it.
Yeah,
what I
We're
will say-
already sign language and like
yeah.
he could be a freaking interpreter. I mean, come on.
I'll tell you that my favorite version out of this legendary thing is actually the Apple TV show.
Yeah. Monarch.
Monarch is actually
It's good.
it deals
It's a
with
real
that,
good show.
and it deals with the fact that some of these creatures aren't intelligent. They're just there to kill you. They don't
Mm.
care
Period.
what you're doing. They don't care what it is.
Yeah.
It does take the side story of trying to figure out what had happened in the past, but it also takes that current when there's a monster that pops up, and it's not crap either. I mean, it's some good CGI that holds up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just there to destroy stuff. I mean, even
Mhm.
Godzilla. when
Yeah,
they're
well, I might
talking
need to
about
start
Godzilla-
watching this show now.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Trust me, it's a must see. It helps establish Monarch for you too.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay, so see, but that's what Godzilla needs to be. He needs to be Jaws. He needs to be.
Yeah.
He's a swimming machine. He only knows to do one thing: eat, swim, and make little Godzillas. That's all he knows how to do. Okay.
Well, and destroy Tokyo.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we tried that in '98, like Matthew Broderick didn't really sell me on it.
See, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, which one was the Toho one where they brought the '98 one that came in? They done CGI's with it. I can't remember what.
The
Monster
2000, yeah,
Yeah.
Monster Wars 2000, and was it
Yeah.
2000 or 2001?
Either
One
either
of the
way,
two.
but
Yeah.
they brought it in, and then remember when he ends up killing the thing by slapping it
Yeah.
with the tail? Worst CGI ever, first of all.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there watching it, and of course the alien guy's like, "I knew that thing wouldn't be able to hold up," and I died laughing. They
Yeah.
just completely buried Godzilla 1998.
That was kind of the Deadpool of Toho.
That really
Yeah.
was.
That movie.
Yeah,
It
I
Yeah.
bet
was just very meta.
it was. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I will say this though. So to Tex's point, I agree. That's when Godzilla's at his best. However, it's also when Godzilla's doing that, it's because he represents a concept that is being explored, and that's when the humans actually need to matter to carry the movie, which is what minus one does very, very well. Because again, and Ray, we've talked about this ad nauseum with this movie. This is as close to an admission of guilt that Japan is ever going to do for World War II.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about people who get a pass for their indiscretions? It's Japan. And this movie says, okay, we may have made a few mistakes, right? With but their whole point is how they treated their own citizens and their soldiers. It's like, we're not going to mention what we did in Korea, the Philippines, China, right? Like they're not talking about Unit 731 or what again.
But even
like-
the director came out and said that. Like he was
Yeah.
very forward about that and said that
Yeah.
this is kind of how it was around after that point, and trying to
Yeah.
understand everything in particular to the government's involvement, to how the citizens were looking at everyone, and how it's kind of almost not a brainwashing, because I don't think that's the right way,
Yeah.
but it was also kind of this is how our society dealt with it and how we were
Yeah.
standing up for our nation. and going through the motions, but then also realizing, well, doggone it, wait a minute, were we in the wrong? Like, it was one of those things. Did
Are we
do
the
this
bad
wrong?
guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we
Like,
the baddies?
but the government is telling us otherwise, you know. So like he
Yeah.
had a really good point with that, and you know,
Yeah.
it's what it was. It was. I don't know if it was an apology letter or if it was more like a this is why.
Yeah,
Right? I think it was the
like,
reasoning for it.
Yeah, there's but again, what Godzilla represents in that is the terrors of man's war. That's what it is. It allows them, and it allows both the kamikaze pilot and the mechanic and everyone involved to sort of say, okay, let's come together and let's fix the mistakes of our past, right? Because the kamikaze pilot is going to fix the mistake of his past by doing his duty, but at the same time, the mechanic and everyone else involved is like, we want to do something where everyone gets to come home. We're not going to just indiscriminately throw bodies at this thing like human life doesn't matter. That was the point. That the reveal, again, the leverage reveal of the ejection seat, right? That's why that was so important, was saying the Japan before World War II did not give a damn about human life at all. You served at the emperor's leisure. That was the mentality, because the emperor was a god, which is also why they did the things that they did, because they're like, well, the god told us to go do this, so we're going to go do this. But now it's like, no, we need to change this. If we're going to move forward as a society, we actually need to care about ourselves and about our fellow citizens just as much. And that's what that whole thing was about. That's why they said the government isn't going to fix this. They're still talking about, again, which is why I love what the analogy with Shin Godzilla, because that whole movie is about the perils of bureaucracy, because like everything's like, okay, well, we need to go to this other room, and they all just get up and they walk to the other room and continue the conversation. My favorite part of Shin Godzilla. But it was saying, hey, it's going to be us. It's the citizens are going to fix this. We need to go do this, right? That was -1, was the citizenry coming up and doing that. So again, to your point, Tex, you're right. That is when Godzilla's at his best, when he's just destroying crap for random reasons. But it only really works when there's the human element behind it to say, what does Godzilla represent, right?
Okay.
What's the conversation happening here? That's when he's at its best.
I'm sorry, was Jason still talking?
Yes.
All right, Tex, go for it.
I get the human element. Okay, I get it, because you got to have it in there, because for some reason people like it. But anyway,
some of us are human, Tex. I mean, I'm just saying. Not all of us are Bigfoot hiding as people.
Which is ironic coming from you, Scooby, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
So you throw in okay. My favorite one of these, this whole run of movies, is Skull Island. Okay, because they have the human element in there, but they don't overdo it. Okay. You're feeling for the tribe on the island. You're feeling for the guy that's been there since 1947 or 45. Okay.
Yeah.
I
John
could
C.
give
Reilly.
a shit
Yeah.
less about the romance between the lead girl and lead guy. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because that was the worst CGI of the movie.
I don't care what Loki does with whoever.
Wait, Loki's in Godzilla?
No, we're talking about Skull Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep
that's
going.
right.
Yeah. The whole thing was a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when Nick Fury took Loki and Captain
Yeah,
Marvel.
Tex, what did you think about Samuel L. Jackson in that movie, though?
He got on my nerves.
He did?
Really?
Oh, because he was such an asshole? Yeah, he was.
The only part of the movie that I liked on that. And I'm not
No,
kidding about it. I'm not,
no, but his death was
he-
satisfying, though, because he just gets smashed.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
but
amazing.
okay, he should have been shot a long time before. Okay,
I give you that.
because yeah, that when you're gonna now I'm getting a little real here. If you've got somebody leading you like that into battle, they're not going to fucking last long. Okay, because friendly fire is a thing. All right.
Yes, it is.
And sometimes it's a thing for a good reason. because once somebody jumps over that line and becomes psychotic, war gives you an excuse to take some bitch out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, Samuel L. Jackson's character became psychotic because he was so driven with rage at the loss of his fellow soldiers. Right?
No.
He was psychotic before he ever got there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
And the
You
reason
tell
being,
that when the war's over. The war wasn't over for him.
no,
Okay.
he was not a happy camper that they were going back to the States.
Because
they left shit undone.
one, he was one of these guys that I can't kill anybody anymore.
Yeah.
That's what that whole thing's about. And
But don't we have sometimes that pop up in real life? I'm just saying.
exactly. Absolutely.
And so that
thing,
is the person you want to see get squished by some giant squid or Godzilla himself, like whatever it is.
yes.
It's exactly what that type of person.
I think
is.
King Kong straight up just smashed his fist into him.
Yeah, and it's almost poetic because then you get to see the fact that, hey, he wasn't even worth a worthy death on screen. It was, you're gone.
You just got smushed. Yeah, he
your
got smushed.
arrogance
Yeah,
got you done. That's why I liked his character, because you kept waiting for when that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Kept hoping it was a giant spider scene because that freaked me out. But
yeah,
it was still satisfying just to see him
that.
squished. It was that satisfaction, and that's why I like this character, because Samuel L. Jackson did play that character up to that, so that when you got to the death scene, not only was it satisfying, kind of comical, right?
Well, I'm glad he did it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have rather seen one of the soldiers take him out.
Yeah, because you look at those soldiers that he was commanding, especially when they got on ground, they were all second guessing everything that was coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, he's lucky his NCOs didn't finish it off for him before it happened.
Yeah,
in a real world situation, that's exactly probably what would happen.
Oh, he wouldn't have lasted 15 minutes in the film.
No.
Well, 15 minutes on the island, yeah, because I mean, this is happening in, I can't remember, was it Korea that was supposed to be happening, or was it?
This was Vietnam.
Vietnam, yeah, it's Vietnam. Because it's been a while since I've seen the movie. It's like, yeah, I mean, Vietnam. It's not like fragging the officer was an unknown event during Vietnam.
We don't know what you're talking about. We can neither confirm nor deny.
Thank you guys. Plead the fifth. Just saying.
Yep. So yeah, I agree, but again, to the point, these are movies that when you've plucked all of the petals and all you're left with are thorns, it's time to get a new petal, right? I mean, it's a movie. It can't be. It's a movie about a giant monkey fighting giant.
Okay, well,
critters.
Let me ask you guys. Now, wait, hold on. This is a question.
In the first and stayed that way. Sorry, Don.
So this is a question for all four of you guys. Then,
all right.
What are your thoughts on the Peter Jackson King Kong movie? Then,
it was the remake of the 1939 as a totally different animal.
Yeah,
I'll go with it. An hour and a half too freaking long.
Yeah, it was self-indulgent.
It needed to be a lot shorter. It needed to get to the point. I don't need to see King Kong dancing on ice with freaking whatever the hell her name was.
That part kind of. Yeah. Well, it was sad because you knew he was dead. He was going to get, got.
Not when he was on the ice dancing with her. He didn't.
So okay, there is So
kind of like watching the animal version of Ghost with
it really was.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me. As I just said,
like
I think the movie's self-indulgent, right? I do think that whole movie's self-indulgent because of the elongated time frame. But I will say this: that those last few scenes where they're taking those little moments, I will say this: I think what Peter Jackson was trying to do is when you have a short time with someone that you love and you know that the time is short, there are oftentimes instances where you will take those little moments, right? I think that's the point. He
would have never have worked.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying. I think that's what he was trying to sort of showcase was this. But my problem is it's self-indulgent because it's a friggin' King Kong movie. It's too long. Yeah. I want to see him fight a couple of T-Rexes, get gassed by Fay Ray, and then I want to see him blown away by some planes on the
exactly.
Empire State Building. Call it a movie. We're done.
Okay, so here's a question for y'all. All of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all or just some of y'all?
All of
like sorry.
So was you take the 1939 movie, They Killed Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You take the 1980s Kong, and they brought him back to life with a damn giant mechanical heart.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah,
that
yeah.
second King Kong Lives. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one after the Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
But if you take the timeline, going from the original one, they killed Kong in the original one. Was that Kong's daddy?
Oh, for the okay with the Bridges one.
Or you talk the Bridges one was a complete remake.
Yeah, it was a remake.
Well, let me rephrase this. It was a remake following story beats of the first one. Not what Peter Jackson did, right? But the second one of Kong Lives then does become that sequel to Jeff Bridges' Kong.
Yeah.
Not a fan necessarily of either one of them.
They were okay for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'll go back and watch that 39 version more than I will any other version.
Oh yeah.
Just because,
Especially get the uncut version, you know, where you're sitting there with him holding Fay Ray and he's sitting there dingling her boobs in her thing. People forget about that.
Dingling
Yeah.
her
Literally,
boobs.
he's sitting there holding her. He's like, diddly, diddly. It's got the sound effects and everything. You know, you're like, is he playing with her titty and I don't know about it?
Yeah, it's serious.
He's Kong is a molester. He needs to be he needs to be put on the daggum the sexual offenders damn list. You know, he's got to check in with his neighbors. I mean, god damn, come
Chris
on now.
Hansen is showing up.
Yeah. Chris Hansen said, so you want to have a seat over there?
you just hear the me Kong. Sorry.
I'm telling you, go back and look when they do it. It's got the little sound effects guy sitting there with a little bell like that. I know it's him outside going, watch this crap. They're going to screw with this. How that got past the censors in 1939, I don't know if it even showed on screen.
But there are things. So okay, so hold on. Just complete derivation.
No,
30 seconds.
don't.
30 seconds.
Don't.
There is stuff. If you go back and watch the old Tarzan movies, there's a lot of stuff that they were kind of letting that they let fly. That were like, what is going on? Like again, in modern day, we're like, how did they let that go? They were okay with some tongue in cheek and some.
They let that go, but they made me not be able to see Barbara Eden's belly button. Screw them.
That wasn't tongue in cheek. That tongue went somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, there were cheeks involved too.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Godzilla X Kong versus Godzilla -1. The thing is, I don't even think you can compare the two because it's like comparing a really well done steak dinner and Whataburger.
No, I don't think so. I think
hold on. They're two completely different things.
It's not. It's not. When you look at its entirety in its whole, what is it about? Giant monsters. One did it better than the other. There is no steak or burger comparison in this. It is Outback Steakhouse as compared to a steakhouse that's 5-star and's got a Michelin star. Whatever, right? It's the same steak being prepped. It's just who did it better, who cooked it better.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
That's where I was disagreeing.
I'm more inclined. Yeah, I'm more inclined to agree with Jason's point that it felt more like a fine steak versus like a good but greasy burger.
Y'all are all crazy. It's Whataburger versus Sonic. They're all still fast food. Just roll.
There you go. There you go. I get better fries with one than I do the other.
I've never had Sonic.
Yeah, I know
Donnie has led a very sheltered life. Yeah.
Unless you're looking for a slushie, in which case, yeah, Sonic.
Or cherry limeade. Cherry limeade good.
I'm just saying, like Godzilla -1 should absolutely get all the Oscar buzz and nominations that it deserved what it got, and it did it for a hell of a lot more or less than any other. Like, I'm sorry, Sound of Freedom cost about the same or slightly more to make, and that had very little on
I don't remember Godzilla saving kids, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
no. He said
a different spectrum there, isn't it?
Yeah,
no. 75% of that budget was Jim Caviezel's paycheck, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but again, it was an Oscar-worthy movie. Whereas Godzilla X Kong is like, you know what? I want to put it on, and I want to watch monsters beat each other's heads in I do think it was a little bit long because they had to develop a storyline. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of slightly.
Every Godzilla movie.
What?
Like, isn't that your thought process going into every Godzilla movie? Even when I saw Shin Godzilla, my thought process was like, I can't wait to see a giant lizard step on people.
No
That's
kidding.
every single movie that I'm going to go in and see a giant lizard fight a giant monkey. So
Yeah.
there's no real difference in there until after it's done. And again, it's just, man, I had a Sonic burger. Hey, just had a double meat water burger with barbecue sauce on it. It was actually pretty
Bingo.
solid. That's it. That's the only difference. This isn't
Oh, they
you.
put barbecue sauce on their burgers? How come I never tried that?
Oh, dude, when you
If you
come
live
back,
up there wherever you're at. So
when you
the
come back,
A1
we'll take
ticket-
you out proper.
Well, hold on. I did introduce you to that other one. The problem is the A1 Thinking Hardy burger doesn't happen anymore. But I showed you the other
Oh.
one.
It's
Yeah, the
seasonal.
other one, yeah. It was
Yeah, that
good.
had barbecue sauce on it. Yeah,
Oh,
sweet
it
and
did?
spicy.
Oh.
Yeah, sweet and spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, sweet and spicy. Same
But
thing.
that,
what'd you do? Get him a McRib?
No.
No, God, no. You don't
I
have someone
think
come in.
I think you run a Whataburger by putting barbecue sauce on
And
What
again,
kind of
You're just
bullshit
freaking
is that,
cantankerous
Tex?
today, aren't you?
Texas is coming in tonight with all of these spicy opinions tonight, man.
Yeah.
Spicy
Yeah,
opinions.
I have a
Tex came in
question
and
for
said, I
everybody,
don't like
though.
people, and I'm going to stick with it.
He's like,
Here's the
Godzilla
question.
-1 sucked. I was like, I gasped when he first said that
Now,
to me. I
Have
gasped.
we or have we not here established that Godzilla -1 does more of a human side of everything, right?
100%.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
What other movie tried to do that and failed miserably in this series? Godzilla 2014.
Yeah.
The first one of Legendary.
Oh,
They
yeah,
tried
yeah.
to
We
do
said,
everything
yeah.
for the humans. It's all about the humans, and they had the worst actors. They had the worst freaking. If I ever see that guy act in another show again, I will just stop.
Who?
Right there.
Are you
Main
talking
soldier
Dude
dude?
that played the lieutenant.
Oh,
And
Quicksilver.
me and him,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
me and him were
Yeah.
I'm talking about the dude that was playing the lieutenant EOD specialist. First of all, lieutenant ain't just gonna go volunteer to do a halo jump with a bunch of daggum Marines, okay? It don't happen.
Again,
Secondly,
it's a movie about
yeah.
a giant radioactive lizard fighting giant
That right
radioactive
there.
bugs.
That.
time
We can allow some again, and the bugs can create EM pulses for some reason.
time out again. Once again, we're still talking about we don't see them. We see the people. That
Yeah, I
first
know.
fight you saw as a shadow in Hawaii. That's what you saw. A shadow of a fight in Hawaii.
I got to
Did you
go
or
back.
did you not?
I got to go back to that point, though. It was like, I went in to see a giant monster movie. I don't
Yes.
care that they didn't get it right or not, because at the end of the day, I don't care about him. Like, it's
Hey.
great. You're part of the plot and everything, and I get it. You're
Yeah.
trying to have the human element. I'm not watching for you.
I
I'm not
don't
watching
give a
for
shit about
any
these
of it.
humans that are falling out of the
Yeah.
sky because they had an EMP and shit.
All
I
of
don't care. Let me see one of the Mutos stab it with. Oh yeah, that's right. We did see a Muto stab one or two of them.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah.
it.
but-
The one bouncing off Godzilla. I'm
Yeah, that
laughing
was
at.
hilarious.
I'm the
But
same
here's-
guy that goes into Titanic and watches that, and everyone's crying around me, and that one guy that bounces off the
Bounces off the
propeller. I'm just
propeller.
like,
Yeah.
did anyone else just see that? Like, that was
Exactly.
genius. That was comedy.
That was the best
But,
part of the
you
whole
know,
movie.
I go into that movie. I saw it very first night it came out. I was in the very first showing here in Weatherford at the old theater that was here.
Were you surprised when the
place
Titanic
was-
sank?
The place was packed, and all of us were old ass Toho Godzilla movie watchers. All right, my family came with me because they wanted to see how screwed up I would get while I'm watching it. And when I'm making it through it, but when he is looking at that Muto after blowing up all the eggs, and he looks up and she's about to come down on his ass, and all you see is that tail go up and start to light up. That was the best freaking framing of a nostalgia moment that's
Yep.
ever been done, because
Hmm.
every single person in that theater was like, ooh, ooh, the whole bunch, everybody was like, this shit's about to get real.
Not too many people know this, but Randy actually did the sound effect for the tail lighting up.
He
That was
did.
the exact same sound effect that was used.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it right there.
That was Randy's Captain America holding Mjolnir.
Because that was going to be my segue to my next question to you. When the hell did the daggum breath become an atomic blast?
Oh, that's easy.
That is a debate whether it's been flame, whether it's been radiation, whether it's been atomic breath, whatever.
But -1, he shoots it and it creates a freaking atomic explosion,
which is
a full
probably
mushroom crowd.
that
cloud.
was my
Mushroom
favorite
what?
part.
Hmm.
Mushroom, leave it alone.
Mushroom cloud, whatever.
There were people that went up.
Tomato,
He's
potato.
not
It's all the
wrong.
Yeah.
But no, that was one of the favorite parts. And as far as
Yeah.
the fire breath from the 2014, 2016, whichever version we want to say.
Yeah.
That was simple. It was the blue crystal meth from Walter White.
Yeah.
You heard it. This one you saw the damn scales come out and everything.
Well, actually, the one in Shin Godzilla was probably the most ridiculous.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
wherever he atomic breathalyzed, it was like irradiated for 10,000 years, and then went off in all directions.
Yeah,
'Cause it would
it
come
came
off
out of
his
his
back.
tail, his dorsal
Yeah.
fins, and all. Well, so
What?
But it
there's
was
always
point specific, Donnie. It was lasered out, so it
Yeah,
didn't
they
hit
were
everything.
lasers.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it didn't
Well, so-
spread.
And I think that but that's the whole point. Is essentially what Toho is doing is saying, look, all of these movies that we're doing, these are all their own unique stories. They're their own unique Godzillas with their own unique motivations. What is my motivation?
Kill
You
shit.
know, yeah.
That's
So-
the motivation of Godzilla. Kill shit.
Yeah, it's like we want you, but why? Why do I want to break Tokyo?
Because I want to. Because I can. Step up and get
But-
yours now.
Yeah,
Because
so, I
of
mean
fear.
that's the whole thing. It's like the breath does whatever they wanted to do for that movie. Like that's as far as it needs to go. And
That's
again,
gotta
he's
smell like fish.
maybe he's just pissed off. He doesn't like. Yeah, the Japanese are
he's-
eating all of his fish. He wants
he's-
better sushi, and he can't have it because
He's
of their
mad. He's
whaling.
mad because he's got those little T-Rex arms.
Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, we've been over an hour now, but
Are you trying to run off?
I just want to pose one final thing to you guys, and let's all go around, each one of us, one by one, and let me ask you guys: if you could do your own King Kong and or your own Godzilla movie, like you had full reign over the storyline or what kind of movie you want it to be,
Mhm.
what is your ideal movie for that? Let's start with Jason, and then let's go counterclockwise.
I can so I don't have to have both of them in the same film. I can just
Yeah, you could do one or both or one or the other. But what is your, like, if you could write your own Godzilla movie, what would you do?
Okay, honestly, just because I'm really pissed off by how they did Godzilla or Mechagodzilla bad in that last one, I would do a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, but I would make it better.
Okay. Ray?
I'd probably do a Godzilla invented after World War III.
After World War III, like in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I kind of like that idea.
that's that's a good take. Make him
Okay.
sort of like a genetically manipulated thing. Okay.
Kinda.
Okay.
But that's where I would
Yeah.
place that.
Oh, okay.
After World
Okay.
War III.
Mhm.
Okay.
Interesting take.
I like that idea.
All right, Randy.
Quite frankly, Godzilla versus Kong would do it exactly like the death of Superman.
Huh.
Okay.
Where one of them
Okay.
dies at the end?
No, both of them die.
Oh, both of
Technically,
them die.
if you read all the
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Death of Superman series, at the end, one big giant blow from both of them,
Yeah.
wiped them both out.
Yeah, they both die. Yeah. Okay. I can see. Yeah, that would be interesting. Huh.
Like Godzilla finally dies, but it takes King Kong to do it. But King Kong gives his life to do it.
Much like Superman did to Doomsday.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. You know what? We're getting some good ideas here.
Big
All right,
text.
Dex. He's going to turn into a cryptid version of step porn. I know it.
You know, I like the idea of the whole redoing the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, because they just absolutely ruined it. But I want to see a version of Kong versus Godzilla, okay, where I don't care if one of them dies, both of them dies, or neither one of them dies. Okay, I don't care. but I want to see them take freaking man back to the fucking Stone Age.
Yeah.
Okay.
No saving grace, no secret weapon, no guy that rolls out on the fucking boat that sets off a bomb and gets off just in time and manages to get 200 yards away and survive atomic blast. Okay, none of that bullshit. Okay. Do a Monster Island or Destroy All Monsters where they take us back to the Stone Age. Monsters freaking rule.
Mhm.
Man does not win in this one.
Sort of like what they did with the animated Godzilla. I forget what they called that series.
Oh, the anime Godzilla, well, that's a little too far. Like, kind of like I'm guessing, like right after,
Yeah.
where pretty much everything's fallen apart because all the Titans have emerged.
And not to
Yeah.
mention that
I think they missed a golden freaking opportunity when they raised all these Titans up, and all you got was little glimpses of these things.
Yeah. Oh no, that's my biggest complaint about that Godzilla versus King Kong, because they'd even set that whole thing up to have it was clear all the Titans are going to be showing up and doing this thing in the next film, because they were all heading towards Skull Island. That was literally in the end credits. So I agree with you on that. But I like that idea too. Stone Age. I dig it.
I like it.
Donald,
my idea. Okay. The movie I often tell people is supremely underrated is the Tom Cruise remake of War of the Worlds. You guys ever watch that movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Not too
really
bad.
like that movie. I love that movie.
I think it's underrated.
I thought it was underrated.
I'll give it to you.
That's just because people don't like Tom Cruise.
And the son was pretty annoying, actually. That dude was a bit of a
And when he
Yeah.
ran off, I was kind of hoping like, okay,
Yeah, it's like no,
that's
just
yeah,
let
him
fuck
anymore.
that kid.
No.
And that was the same actor who played Goku. They whitewashed Goku with that dude.
Oh,
So I was
really?
like,
Oh, is that the
especially
same
fuck
guy?
that dude. Yeah, same
Oh,
kid.
okay.
Anyway, so my ideal like King Kong Godzilla scenario would be kind of like a War of the World situation where these basically gray aliens,
Mhm.
but they invade Earth by these similar types of machines, right? That they're walking around and just killing everything. And it's first half of the movie plays out like War of the Worlds. And then instead of like the aliens getting killed by the cold, which was really fucking stupid in my opinion, there's no shit on the Tom Cruise movie. That was just the original plot line because
Well, it was ID4 too.
yeah,
Mhm.
that H.G. Wells.
Yeah, the original
Yeah.
H.G. Wells, the 100 and what?
Yeah, good
200
job, H.G. Wells. Fucking idiot. Anyway, that guy was a dumbass.
See, if you'd watched Warehouse 13, you know H.G. Wells is
Yeah.
a girl.
Yeah, which is why it was so bad.
Okay, so instead of the common cold killing these aliens, what actually happens is the Titans emerge. And then it later turns out that the whole reason why the Titans exist is because they're Earth's like natural defense against these kinds of invaders.
So
Like
kind of
humans be damned.
like a reverse Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
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 What it
Yeah,
sounds
that's a
like.
good way of saying it. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation about Godzilla and shit. I think this is going to be the last one we do until another Godzilla movie comes out.
Till Tech stops being mean to everybody.
No, that's never going to happen.
But you know, we could do other movies too. We should do I don't know. We could do war
Randy,
movies.
for you, we should do Craven.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, so I have to look at it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the next movie we should all discuss, guys?
Jaws.
Jaws? A Jaws retrospective? Should we do that?
I think we ought to go Jaws through the Revenge.
Oh, you know what? How about this? Let's do a show where we just
Jaws
talk about shark movies. We go through the Jaws series. We go through Deep Blue Sea. We go
Yeah,
through the
Deep Blue Sea is
Meg.
my
Let's just
favorite.
do like an entire show just dedicated on just shark movies.
What about Sharktopus?
What about Black Demon? Have you guys seen that one?
Sharknado.
I haven't, but I've read the comic book.
Black Demon was good. The
I
comic?
don't know. Well, the comic was decent for it being what it is. But I
Yeah.
don't know about. I don't know
Okay,
how the
that's a
movies
homework
are.
assignment then for all of us. None of us have seen Black Demon. Have you guys seen the Meg?
I've seen both of them,
Yeah, both
Yes,
of
I
them.
have.
and
It's
and that's a
ridiculous.
lot. That's a lot like Godzilla.
It's a lot of
thank you.
Jason Statham, baby.
Thank
It is.
Yeah.
But see, that's
Oh, save
that
it,
was-
save
that
it
was
for the
freaking
show.
action flick, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
I think we do secondhand line.
You know what? No, my favorite thing about the Meg, I love like just watching Chinese people getting chomped up by a shark. It filled me with personal glee. I'm not gonna lie.
The thoughts and opinion on Donnie Cho's show says stuff.
All
Yeah.
of those Chinese people just lounging out on the beach in their little rubber tubes, acting like they're all on vacation, summer vacation. No, you don't get summer vacation. No, you a
Where's
bunch of
the eject
communists.
button on this podcast? I keep
Yeah, just
looking
like those
for it.
those degenerates of Rio de Janeiro. They get a giant chimpanzee dropped on them, just like God intended. Anyway, folks, we're out. Peace.